Hi everyone, welcome to Val Fashions YouTube channel. I hope you all are doing well. So, if this is your first time of stopping by my channel, please kindly subscribe, hit the notification button so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. So today we're going to be drafting a ruched gown. We're going to be making a ruched gown. I'll be using this floral fabric. You can see it's really beautiful, and I have 3 yards of fabric here. So I'll be using this fabric to achieve the ruched gown. Okay, so the measurements needed to achieve this gown, you need the measurement from the center back to the sleeve length of the person you're making this for. So this is for me. The measurement from my center back to my sleeve length, that's below my elbow, is 24 inches. So that will determine the amount of fabric I'll be folding. Then you need your hip measurement and then the full length of the gown. Okay, another measurement you need is where your underbust is, because this rich gown is going to be having an invisible belt. So those are just the simple measurements you need. So we're going to fold our fabric 24 inches on fold, and I'll be folding for both front and back at the same time. Okay, so I've gone ahead to fold my fabric, and the width I have here is 24 inches wide. So can you see? So this is my 24 inches wide. I folded it into four because I'm drafting for front and back. Okay, and I went ahead to draw my starting line, which is going to serve as my shoulder line. So I'm going to mark my 3 inches here to create my shoulder slant. So now on this part, this 8 inches here, I'll be coming down. I'm marking 3 inches, 8 inches. So on this point, I'll come down by 1 inch to create my shoulder slant. At this point, I don't want to come down with more than 2.5 inches. So let me mark my 2.5 inches here at this point and then connect it. So can you see? So I have my Okay, so I haven't marked my shoulder slant. So now I'll come here. Like I said, we only need you need your hip measurement. That will be what will determine the width you're going to have at the hem here. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to come down by 10 inches. So this will be for my sleeve opening. Remember that we're doing, because this dress is a cut together with sleeve. That is why it is from the center back to the sleeve length. Okay, so I came down by 10 inches at this point. I'll come in from here by 2 inches. I hope my chalk marking is showing. I came in from here by 2 inches. So now I'm just going to shift my fabric upwards so that we can see the hem. So at the hem here, I'm going to enter the hip measurement. My hip measurement is 50. 50 divided by 4, that's 12.5. So 12.5 plus 2 inches. So I'm just going to mark 14.5 here. Okay, so now I'll connect these 2 inches I came in here by to this marking here. So can you see, I'm just connecting from the sleeve opening down to the hem line. So I'll bring my ruler like this and then begin to connect. So can you see that looking at it, you notice that the down part is tapered, that is narrower. Okay, so having done that, I'm just going to bring it down again, and then I'll come here to the sleeve opening, because you don't want to have this L shape here. You just want to have a nice curve. So I'll just curve it this way. Okay, I hope we can see. Just curving it this way. So I just came down by like half inch from this point, and then I curved it. So now it's time for me to mark the neckline. The neck width I'll be using is a neck width of 4 inches. And then the neck depth for the back is 1 inch. Then I'll be having a V neckline for the front. I'll be using a neck depth of 8 inches for the front. So I'll bring my ruler. So I'll use my ruler to connect my markings. First, I'm going to draw the curve of the 1 inch neckline for the back, and then for the front, my V neckline, I'm just going to connect it like this. So the narrower your neckline, the deeper. Okay, so I have my 8 inches here. So that is it for our drafting. So I'm just going to come here now and cut. I'll be cutting on the back first before we do the front. Okay, so I'll be cutting the back neckline, and then the shoulder slope. On this shoulder slope, I'm going to go up by 1/2 inch because that will be for my joining. So on the shoulder slant there, I'll just go up by 1/2 inch. So that will be for joining the shoulder. So at the end of the day, by the time I join them, we'll come back to this slanted line that I have here. Okay, so now I'll cut from below to meet this point. So I'm just going to shift my fabric upwards to cut the lower part. Is this place showing? Okay, so can you see how I'm curving out this point? Like I said, you don't want to have that sharp L shape there. You just want it to be curved nicely. Okay, so this is what we have. So can you see how the down part is taper? Okay, so right now I'm going to remove one of them that will serve as the back, and then go ahead to cut my front neckline. So can you see I've taken away one out, and then I'll rearrange the neckline. I'll go ahead to cut my front neckline. So just going to take the V neckline. Well, okay, so having done this now, it's time for me to cut the facings for the front before I'll go ahead to cut the ruche that we're going to be attaching. So now to cut my facing, I'm just going to use the leftover fabric I have, especially for the to cut my facing. I'll bring in my leftover fabric and then fold into two like this, and just go ahead and place under the front piece. Just take note of what I'm doing. So I'll bring the front piece and place over it. Okay, so having done this now, it's now time for me to cut my front facing. So I'm just going to be tracing out the neckline, and then this shoulder here, just this is like 4 inches. Let's confirm it. So the width I'm using is like 4 inches. So this is it here. So can you see now I have my V neckline. So I'm just going to curve this facing. So you can give it whatever shape you want to. And if you want to have this same shape I have, that's still very fine. So now I have my facing for the front. So I'm going to do the same thing for the back. So all I need is just a small piece of fabric to cut that of the back also. Just like I did for the front, I used the small piece of fabric I have here also. And then I'll bring in my front piece, my back piece, I beg your pardon, and then place it like this. and then cut out my back facing. So the same width I have here at the shoulder line, which is the 4 inches I have for the front, is the same thing I'll be maintaining on this side. So you just want your facings to match up, okay? Because you know we are going to be joining the front and back shoulder together. So you don't want one to be longer than the other. All right. So I'll go ahead to cut my neckline, and then here we are. So now raise my fabric up and then cut the facing to whatever shape you want to. So you can see I'm maintaining the same thing like I have for the front. So now it's time for us to cut the belt and the ruche. Okay, so I'll start with my ruche first. So let me fold this and keep it aside. I've gone ahead to iron the fabric I'll be using for my ruche. So you can see I placed on fold. Can you see? So because I want to cut two at the same time. So, and you can see that the width of the fabric I placed on fold is 2 inches. So the length of the ruche I'm making is the length of my fabric. So here I have 61 inches. Okay, so this is my 61 inches. So I'm going to be cutting out this fabric and then I'll slash it into two. Remember I said I'm cutting two. So now that I've cut it out, I'm just going to go ahead and slash it. Okay, so after slashing my piece of fabric into two, I went ahead to cut the third one. It's the same width of 2 inches. So I have three of them. This one, I'll be using it for the casing of the ruche. Okay, so this is what I mean. So let me bring in my front piece so that we can see. This is my front piece here. So I need to create the casing for the ruche. So I'm going to have a piece of fabric laying here in the center. That's here on the center of this outfit. So the length I have here, that's from this V neckline down to the hem of this outfit now, from the neckline here, I have 52 inches. So, but here my fabric is 60 inches. I can always trim off my excess. Okay, so this is it for the ruche. So now I'm going to show us how I'll be folding this. So now take this to my ironing table. I'll press it like this, half inch this way, half inch this way. So if I have 2 inches and I'm folding half inch on both sides, that means I'll be left with 1 inch. So the width of the casing I want to have will be 1 inch here. Okay, so now for my ruche, I will have to fold this way. Remember, it is 2 inches also. I'm going to fold half inch, and then I will fold into two. So that means my ruche, by the time I am done ironing, I should have half inch. Can you see? This is it. Half inch this way, half inch this way, and then this way. So at the end of the day, I'll have half inch. So the last thing for us to cut is our belt. Okay, this belt is going to be located, or is going to be fixed at the under bust of the client. This is to give shape, despite the fact that this is a bubu dress, but you still want it to give that defined shape, an invisible belt under the bust area to give the bust that nice lift. Okay, so the belt I'll be cutting will be, I'll be placing my fabric 2 inches on fold, and then the length is going to be 30 inches. So and I'll need two of these because one will be placed on the right and the other on the left. Okay, so like I said, 2 inches on fold. So I'm going to place my fabric on fold and cut out 30 inches in length and 2 inches on fold. So I'll bring in my iron and press it and cut it out and show us. You can see 2 inches on fold, 30 inches long. So I have two of them. So what I'll be doing, I'll be sewing my belt on the wrong side. Can you see this is the wrong side of my fabric? So I'll be sewing on the wrong side or sew on 1/2 inch this way, take it this way to this point, and then leave this place open so that I'll use it to turn it out. This is what I'll be doing for both of them. Okay, so now I have the piece of fabric I'll be using for my ruche. Remember I told you should fold 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then fold into two. So I have two of them I'll be using for the ruche, and then this is the last one that will be the casing for the ruche. Okay, so you can see I also folded 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then I left this opened. Okay, so I'll be placing it on the center front of my outfit, but from the wrong side. So take note, this is my front piece, and then this is the wrong side. Can you see that I have my crease line? This is to show that this is the center front of my outfit. So I'll be placing it like this. I'll place it like 1/2 inch above the neckline. Can you see what I'm doing? Then I'll pin it down. So I want to maintain this crease line. So I'm going to pin it down all the way to the hem. So I've gone ahead to pin my fabric. That's the piece of fabric I'll be using for my casing. Okay, so take note at the hem here. I already folded or I already hemmed the down part of my part, that's for my front piece. This is because this casing is not supposed to go into the hem because we're going to allow our root to come out from here. So can you see I already cut out the excess fabric I have from the material I'm using for the root. So I'm just going to fold in 1/2 inch like this because it's not supposed to get to the hem of my front piece. So I'm just going to fold in 1/2 inch like this. So it will stop exactly at the point where the hemming stitch is. Okay, that's the stitch I have here. So can you see? So this is what I have now. So can you see where I stopped my root? That's the casing for the root. So now I'm going to take to my sewing machine, and then I'll sew very close to the tip here, all the way up. And then I'll do the same thing on on the other side. After doing that, then I'll come here at the center and sew a straight line because I'm trying to create two casings for the two roaches that we have. So I'm just going to sew a straight line at the middle here. So leaving 1/2 inch on this side and 1/2 inch on the other side. Remember that our casing is just 1 inch. Okay. So and I'll also do the same thing for the fabric for the root. I'm going to top stitch this. I'll sew it, and then the part that will come out, that will be sticking out, I'm going to fold it this way so that it's neat. So I'll do that for the two of them and sew the belt and come and show us how to fix the belt. I've sewn my casing, and I've also sewn on the 1/2 inch in between. I did the same thing. I also sewed the rope I'm going to be using for my root. So now it's time for me to fix it in. You can decide whether to put it from up or down. So can you see how I folded the down part? So and then you can see how this part is sticking out. Okay, so I'm going to trim it to follow the V shape before I use it to turn my facing. So I've pinned my safety pin to the fabric I'll be using for the root. So I'll be fixing it into this hole like this, and then I'll push it all the way to the neckline. So I'll quickly do that and then I'll show us what we have. So can you see how it's moving? All you just need to do is just keep pushing. Your safety pin will keep moving. I'm done fixing the rope that I'll be using to form my root. So can you see some parts are already gathered here? Okay. So this is it. So this is where I brought out the excess, and then you can see I've gone ahead to turn my neckline with the facing. So can you see that it's now neat here? So just go ahead to trim out this rope. Okay, I'll also do the same for this side. So this is what we have. So you can see I'm going to be using hemming gum to hold that part down. So and I've also attached my belt. So what I did, I came down from the shoulder line by 15 inches. My under bust is 15 because I want this belt to be under my bust. So the from shoulder to under bust length for me is 15 inches. So I went ahead to mark 8 inches from the center front, from this thread line here. This is my center front. I marked 8 inches towards the right, and I also marked 8 inches towards the left. So this is where I attached my belt on this side so that it can be tied. It's inside, you can see it's on the wrong side of the dress. Okay, so I also went ahead to join the shoulders. Can you see I've turned my facing and I've also woven. So now this is what it looks like. So this is what, so that's why the rope needs to be almost, it should be the same size as the casing so that it can be tight. You don't want it to be too free and it's just falling here and there. So you can see we're already having a nice effect. So now the next thing to do is to come here to the sides. I want to join my sides. Remember, I've already hemmed the down part. So I'll come here to the side. I'll be folding this part. I came in by 2 inches. I'll be folding this part in like this. This is my folding allowance for the sleeve. I'll do that, and then I'll sew on 1 inch all the way down. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Then I'll use hemming gum to hold down my facing. Okay, I'll be applying hemming gum to this side so that I can hold it down. Then I'll show us what it looks like. Okay, so here we are. We're done with our outfit. It turned out really beautiful. So this is how free the back is. The front, I tied my invisible belt inside. And you can see the ruched part. Can you see how I dragged it to the length I want it to be in front? So this is just at your discretion. If you want it lower or higher, that's fine. Okay, I hope you enjoyed making this video with me, and I hope you have subscribed. If you haven't done so, please kindly do so. Like this video, share with your friends, and do not forget to put on your notification bell so that you get notified whenever I come online. Thank you.